At the time of death, an essential subject from Vinipedia, death is a rather frightening inevitability of life, and everyone at some point ponders over what happens to them after death, as well as what will occur at the time of death itself. In order to deal with this, it is best to take to spiritual paths, as they give us the courage and knowledge to overcome this fear. A person in Krishna consciousness does not need to fear death because his life has been dedicated to Krishna. Therefore, the question that may arise is, what actually happens to one at the time of death, and how does being in Krishna consciousness benefit him at that time? Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinicotes at the time of death category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 8 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. Whatever way of spiritual realization we accept, the ultimate goal is Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entities are eternally connected with him via devotional service. As stated in our Madbhgavatam, Anti-Narya SMT, the perfection of life is to remember Narya at the time of death. Our Madbhgavatam 5.14. 45. Atheists think that they are independent, and therefore they do not care about the supremacy of the Lord, yet the Lord asserts his supremacy when he overcomes them as death. At the time of death, their attempts to use their so-called scientific knowledge and philosophical speculation to deny the supremacy of the Lord cannot work. Our Madbhgavatam 8.5. 31. Sacrifice means denying the interest of the senses. One has to learn this art by employing the senses in the service of the Lord during one's lifetime. One can utilize the results of such practice at the time of death. Sri Isaupaniyad, Mantra 17. According to Vedic principles, when retiring from family life, one can take his wife with him, for the husband and wife are considered to be one unit. Thus they can both combinedly perform austerities for liberation. This is the path that Maharyapithu, who was an exemplary character, followed, and this is also the way of Vedic civilization. One should not simply remain at home until the time of death, but should separate from family life at a timely moment and prepare himself to go back to Godhead. Our Madbhgavatam 4.23. 1.3. At the time of death, the mind and intelligence of a living entity create the subtle form of a certain type of body for the next life. If the mind suddenly thinks of something not very congenial, one has to take a corresponding birth in the next life. On the other hand, if one can think of K at the time of death, he can be transferred to the spiritual world. Galoka Vindivana. Nectar of Instruction. Text 8. A person who appropriates another's legitimate wife, children or money is arrested at the time of death by the fierce Yamadutas, who bind him with the rope of time and forcibly throw him into the hellish planet known as Tamisra. Our Madbhgavatam 5.26. 8. Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices, but even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. Sri Isaupaniyad, Mantra 17. The activities of the day evoke dreams at night and induce emotions appropriate to those activities. Similarly, the activities performed in one's lifetime flash across one's mind at the moment of death and determine one's next life. Renunciation through Wisdom, Chapter 2.